Am I the a-hole for divorcing my husband for being infertile? I, 29F, have been with my husband, 29M, for 6 years, married for 3. We both come from family-oriented backgrounds and have always wanted kids. We're financially stable and can provide a child an amazing life. We've officially started trying for a baby in early 2023. After months of nothing, I started to get worried. I wanted to get our fertility checked then, but he said I was being a worry rat and let's wait a year of trying before we get any testing. A year was in February, and I scheduled our testing then. The results shocked us. We were both ignorant and assumed I was the one with the issue if there was one. I mainly see women talking about being infertile, so it didn't cross our mind it could be something else. The doctor calls us and in one of the worst days of our lives tell us that my husband has a condition called azoospermia, meaning he has no sperm. In his case, they say that the surgery to extract directly from his testicle doesn't seem that it will yield high results, but it wouldn't hurt to try. My husband and I were devastated. I wanted us to explore all routes. Him taking the medication and getting the surgery, and if that fails, either a sperm donor or adoption. I understand this is life-changing news, especially for my husband, but since February he's refused to do anything about it. He said he doesn't want to take meds and get the surgery if it will be a waste like the doctor thinks. That using a sperm donor makes him feel emasculated, and he doesn't want to raise my child with another man's DNA, even if it's from a relative of his, and that adoption isn't something he's ever wanted. I have no one to talk to about this in real life since he doesn't want his diagnosis out there. It's been affecting me really bad mentally. There's nothing more I want than to be a mom. I've begged him to go to therapy and he refuses, saying he accepts it. I'm the one that isn't. Every time I try to start a conversation, he shuts it down by saying that we will never have a child together. He will never be able to be a real dad, so to move on. I know what I want for myself. That's motherhood. I am willing to go down any avenue to motherhood, but he doesn't want to. I realized this past summer that he's right. We will never have a child together. I had one final conversation with him since he avoids the topic like the plague last night. I sat him down and said I empathize with him about this life-changing diagnosis, and that he doesn't want to get the surgery, which I respect, or use a donor or adopt. But that I want to be a mom and I'm not getting any younger. And if he isn't willing to explore any avenue or go to fertility therapy, then I want a divorce. He broke down, saying he can't believe I would be willing to walk away from our marriage over this. That if the shoe was on the other foot, he would never leave me for being infertile. He says I'm a horrible person and that I'm punishing him for something he can't control. I told him it's not for being infertile, I can work with that, but it's because he's refusing to go down any route to become a parent, knowing that's something we've both wanted. He says that I never loved him, otherwise I would never contemplate divorce over kids that don't exist yet. He cried about it afterwards and refused for me to console him. I feel so horrible. But what else can I do? Continue begging him to change his mind or speak to a professional? He only wants bio kids and refuses to do the surgery because it's too much prep, daily vitamins, meds, no hot showers, etc. Am I the a-hole? Comments. Commenter 1. He refuses to adopt, refuses to look into donor sperm, refuses to try any medical intervention. He refuses to even talk about it. It's not about him being infertile, it's about him being completely unwilling to understand your feelings, much less try to find a compromise to save your marriage. Commenter 2. Kids are sadly a deal breaker for most. I've walked away from many relationships because I don't want them and the other person does. In a way, this situation is the same. He's not open to children another way, so sadly your life goals no longer align. It's obviously devastating for you both, but if you stay, you will resent him and probably leave later in life, without an easy path to children then. NTA, and I'm so sorry for you. Commenter 3, you're right on the money. This isn't about his infertility alone, it's his unwillingness to compromise or even consider alternatives. It's tough, but if you've made it clear what you want for your future and he's choosing to shut down all options, then it's totally fair to think about what's best for you. Staying in a situation where your dreams aren't aligned can just lead to resentment later on. Commenter 4, hi. Currently in the midst of IVF treatments for MFI. First off, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. I completely understand wanting nothing more than to be a mother. I also understand the absolute heartbreak and devastation that comes from finding out that your person, or who you thought to be your person, may not be able to physically give you a child. My husband and I are lucky, I suppose. His numbers are low and all of his other parameters are also not within the normal range, but he has numbers. I cannot imagine what you, or your husband, have truly been feeling since receiving that diagnosis, however I can relate to a point. My husband was also not the most receptive upon first receiving the news. Most men do take it as a personal hit to their masculinity. He was adamant that it was a mistake, so we tested again, and we got a second opinion, but alas, it was still the case. We were both devastated, but we talked about it. We talked about what was important to us both. I, like you, was, and still am, very willing to do anything and everything to try to grow our family together. These were not easy conversations. We had to cut them short. We had to revisit them. We cried, we screamed, we cursed whatever entity we could for putting us in this place. But we talked about it. It was like pulling teeth to get my husband to take his vitamins, to focus on losing weight, to make the changes that were recommended to us. We worked through it together, and we continue to every day. It is not easy. But we both hope and feel that it will be worth it if we make it to the other side. There was a lot of tension and arguing before reaching that point though. Your husband may benefit from therapy, or some other outlet for him to express what he's feeling. It helped mine a lot. Finding out that you're the problem in this equation is a heavy hit, and I have done everything to make sure he knows that it's not his fault, and had we not checked we never would have known. Throughout everything I was very clear that I wanted a family with him and not with anyone else, and that no matter what it looked like getting there, he would be the father of our children. We haven't needed to revisit the donor sperm conversation, but that one in the beginning was a hard no. He's softened to the idea, but again, we're not there yet. But throughout these conversations I was still very honest that having children has always been something I have wanted and I would not be willing to compromise on that. Genetics are important to a lot of people. And to a point, they're important to my husband and I. We would of course love our children to be a combination of the two of us, but at the end of the day, we realize that a genetic relationship is not what makes you a parent. You get far enough into this and you may realize that it's not the be-all end-all for you. My mother was adopted, so maybe that made it an easier conversation to start, but it certainly helped to frame it in a way that made my husband more open to many options. None of these things happened overnight. We started trying for a child in 2021. We are nearing 3 years. We weren't even able to have our official consult with an infertility specialist until August of 2023. This is a long road. And it is hard. IVF with ICSI ended up being the route we've taken, and after an IVF cycle in April we had 6 embryos. We transferred one fresh immediately following the retrieval cycle, but unfortunately it failed to implant. We're hopefully going to be trying another transfer soon with one of our remaining 5. All of the injections, procedures, blood draws, everything will be worth it to us if and when we can meet our healthy baby. I don't blame you for giving your husband the hard facts. And I'm so sorry that he's trying to frame you as a heartless monster. But you are absolutely not an asshole for feeling how you feel. Just like he's not an asshole for feeling how he does. You shouldn't have to live a child-free life because he is unwilling to budge. But he also can't force you into that life for the same reason. I hope you're able to have the conversations that need to be had. I hope he can see that this is something that affects you both. I'm saying nah. Infertility is hard and unfair, and there's nothing that will ever prepare you for it. Nobody is at fault for feeling what they're feeling. However, your husband is being an a-hole for refusing to talk to you about it all. Not for his immediate feelings, but for disregarding what that does to you. For better or worse, in sickness and health. You chose each other to be your partner, and this is one of the hardest tests for what that entails. Good luck, op. If you need to talk, feel free to message me. I know this is a hard place to be. Update. Hello everyone. I posted this last year and received so much amazing feedback that genuinely changed my life. Since no one in my personal knew what was going on, being able to talk about it and get so much amazing advice was great. A lot of the people in the comments opened my eyes up to the possibility that he was refusing the surgery since that would be the final nail in the coffin. That if it failed that would be the end, and that could be the reason he was refusing to do anything. I took some time after posting that to do some self-reflection on the whole scenario and to go out the situation differently. We spoke about it extensively and I told him about how I completely understand his fears in not wanting to do the surgery, but I really want us to try a fertility therapist and we could just do one session. It didn't have to be a deep commitment. He agreed and that therapy session went amazing. We both spoke separately and then together and we did 5 sessions overall. You guys were right. My husband was scared to try anything because he didn't want it to fail. He was pre-rejecting the rejection. He opened up to me about a lot of fears and anxiety about his diagnosis. We deeply connected afterwards and got even closer as a couple. One day I saw vitamins on his dresser and realized he had been taking them without even telling me. I was so happy. We did another sperm analysis and they saw 2 sperm. We were so happy. Then to my complete and utter surprise, my husband forwards me an email. He scheduled a consultation for the micro-tease surgery in December. It went well and he was approved for surgery this February. We went in with low expectations and to still be happy at the progress he's made, but they were able to get 3 sperm. My husband and I were ecstatic and couldn't stop crying. Everything went well at his 2-week checkup. Now we're in the process of IVF. I started taking medication to do my egg retrieval right after his surgery and so far I have 12 eggs. Last month we just found out we have 2 embryos. Both healthy, 1 boy and 1 girl. Our implantation date for our daughter was May 1st and I tested positive a few days ago. We are so happy. I am so happy that we were able to get through this bump in the road. This has been amazing. I am so happy my husband's fear and my sadness to his fear was something we were able to get over. We have both extensively apologized to each other, him for shutting down and wanting to give up and me for not being more understanding to that life-changing news. Thank you guys again for all the advice you gave me.